Hey everybody, it's Andrew Brown from the AWS Cloud Project Bootcamp, and what we're doing here is doing a little bit more diagramming as we continue on. So we have our CRUD stack here, and we have our networking stack that we created, and so the next thing was the cluster, and so that's what we want to go ahead and diagram out over here. And so if there is a way that we can divide these into different stacks, we'll see if we can do that, like show that what part is in what scope for CloudFormation, but it might be too hard because these get intermixed. So what we've done is we've deployed, if we go back over to our template here, and I'm going to go up to all the way to the top here, is we have an ECS Fargate, ALB with these options, the security group, a HTTPS listener, an HTTP listener, a backend and a front-end target group. So those are the things that we need to go ahead and represent. So what I'm going to do is take a look here, and I always check the group items to see if there's anything that is specific to what we're doing right now. One of the best ways is to definitely open up the PowerPoint presentation and see if there is any stuff there. Sometimes this isn't up to date, and so AWS might have newer graphics. So I can just go here, say AWS icon set, and we'll go take a look there. I'm sure I've downloaded this before, but we'll go ahead and download it again. And so once that is done, shouldn't take too long. Come on, it's only 10 megabytes here. I'm just going to go here, and we'll open this up here in PowerPoint. Just give it a moment. Just doing this off screen here. It is taking its time. Be back in a moment, okay? Here we are. And we'll enable editing because it's totally fine. And we'll take a look at what they have changed since then. So, you know, it just helps to look at some of the stuff in here to see if there's anything new. So there is one. We have EC2 instance content, spot fleet. Nothing for ECS that I'm seeing here. Of course, you can create custom ones as they are showing there. I'm just carefully looking for ECS cluster stuff. This one looks new too. This AWS account used to always be represented like this. So this is something that I haven't yet to see before. But we're not exactly seeing one for Fargate, but we could create our own if we want to. But what I want to do is go to that particular category. So we have compute. We also have containers here. Control click to follow the link. Control click for compute. All right, so here we have containers. Yeah, so we have containers, service, tasks, things like that. Nothing particularly for the cluster. So that's fine. What we'll do is we'll bring in this icon, the ECS icon, right? And we'll just have to kind of make our own little border for it because there's going to be more than one thing in that cluster. And I'm going to just double check to make sure there isn't something there already. And I'm really surprised they don't have one for the cluster, which is totally fine. But we'll go down here and go look for that. They have this style and then the flat style. If we could have flat, I would definitely prefer that, but I'm not sure if we're going to be able to easily find that. So I'm going to go Elastic Container Service. You can also search for it, Elastic Container Service here. There's the flat design. That's the one I want. And then we're going to want this line color here. So I'm just going to go ahead and drag out a new box. So we'll go all the way to the top here, and we'll grab this. And we know if we click on something like this, we can bring down the rounded corners to 0. And then I'll just delete this here. I'll just take that out there. And we will go ahead and match this size. Okay, like that. And the next thing I want to do is I want to get that color there. So I need the eye picker. Is there an eye picker in here? Usually it would be like Shift or I or something, but this is a different program, so I'm not 100% sure. Give me a second to find where the eye picker is. All right, so apparently where it is if we go into here, We click on this, then there's the eyedropper. So I can go in here and we'll just select that. And so now we have our nice orange border. And I'm just going to send this to the back. And I believe that is the correct size. Yep, we matched it from the other one before. And so the idea here is that we have a cluster. And the cluster is going to deploy these containers into different subnets. And they're only going to go into the public subnets. So what we want to do is bring this here. Yeah, and right now we're not doing anything with these ones, so maybe we could make these a bit smaller until they serve some kind of purpose. I don't know, not sure why this is not selecting. As you know, this is very finicky, so. We'll just try to bring these over as best as we can to the left here to make more room. There we go. Good, good. And so what I want to do is just give this more space now. So go here, and we'll drag that larger. We'll drag this one larger. And we will drag this one larger. Look at that, that's a fun one. There we go, kind of fixed it. Finicky. Okay. All right, so we have a lot more room to work now with. So what we can do is bring this over. And even these are kind of like taking up a lot of room, the labels. Kind of wish they were down here or something. But let's just zoom out here and take a look here. Yeah, I kind of don't like that. So what I'm going to do is maybe cut this out and make this text. And then I'm just going to bring this to the left here. Like that. And so now we have a lot more control over this. So now we can move it anywhere we want, right? So wherever it's going to give us more room. So like here, I find that a little bit easier. We'll bring this one down. This will be pub sub 2. 4. Okay, and then we take this out as such. And we'll bring this down. This will be pub sub 3, 8. Okay. So now what we can do is bring this one down. If I can just get it to let me, yeah, there we, I'm trying to grab it so it shows me that, yeah, resize, there we go. So the idea is it's gonna come across those 3 here like that. Okay. We should just keep working with this, get more elements in because it's gonna get harder as we go. So what we'll do here, let's just bring this over a bit so we have a bit more room. Another thought I had is that I could bring this in closer like this. And then what we could do is bring these up here. Okay, so that's a little bit less of a problem now. I really dislike that that happens every time that happens, so that's kind of frustrating. Okay. But anyway, that's our cluster. I'm not sure what kind of cluster information we need to provide there, but now we'll just say Fargate cluster. And I'll bring that down to, I don't know, 8 here. Bring this top left corner. And if we want, we could also color this text to be orange. Okay. So are these names floating? Probably not. If we go here, probably make it top right corner here. Top right, top right. I remember we did some spacing on these to get these to go into the right place. I suppose we could just put spaces in front of it like that. Would that do it? Nope. Well, whatever. We'll play around with it in a bit. Okay, we need to bring in a load balancer. So we'll go here and look for that. ALB, application load balancer. That's the correct icon. Yep. We need a listener. That is not useful. Let's go take a look at if we have any sub ones for that. So I'll go back all the way up to our navigation here. Where is it? Somewhere here, there should be networking or content delivery, something like that. Networking, yep, same category. And we'll take a look here at what we have. So yeah, that's all we get. Doesn't even have examples for load balancing. That's interesting. But we do have those components, so I guess we'll just use generic ones for that. So we have a listener. So this is HTTP listener. And then we have HTTPS listener. Port 443. Port 80. We have target groups. So I wonder if those are represented anywhere here. So we'll just search for auto scaling group. Oh, sorry, no, this is still our load balancer stuff. So yeah, we still don't have that, but we'll go here and we have, what do we call our target groups? Front end TG, back end TG, okay. And so this one is just going to do a redirect. So this, we'll take this one off here, and this will be redirects to. And then this is forwards based on host header API dot. Okay. Or that look better like this here, and then bring this up a bit like that. And then for this one, it's the front end, and this is just the default. Default route. We could probably bring this in closer if we do this. That. And then do this. Other way, come on. We'll just say redirects to. Now, we'll just type in ALB here. We do have an ACM attached here, so there's probably one for ACM. We could also take a look here, what they have here. So I'll just search certificate. There's certificate authority. I'm not sure that's what we want, but we'll go here. And it's actually called ACM Certificate Manager. I figured it probably was that, but that's okay. So we'll drag this one out, and we'll just say ACM. And this is wildcard.crutter.com, and then just crutter.com. So we have those ACM certificate. Just shrink this down so it's more similar in size. Bring this down so it's not overpowering things here. I'm going to bring this to the left. This should not be breaking. I don't know why it's doing that. Probably because this icon's too small. So I'll just take this text out here. And we will create a new text area. Paste that in. And then I can bring this here and say, and we'll just, oops, do this. Okay, and so that way we know we have SSL, right? And for what particular things that is covering. I mean, technically it's just .api, but we of course know that's the actual domain. So I'll just take that out there because that's actually what it's doing is that. And so then the idea here is that this stuff is supposed to point to the cluster for particular services. So, I mean, there will be registered services. We do know that these target groups are pointing to this cluster here. So I'm just trying to think about that because the way it works is when you create a service, you associate it to a load balancer, right? And so I think from a visualized standpoint, when we define these here, what we'll do is we will just then draw the lines to show that association, okay? Now, the other thing is that we don't need to represent these other two in that much detail because, I mean, unless we know which subnet we are deploying our load balancer, or sorry, our RDS instance in, but I think these other ones could be kind of shrunken because we're simply not going to see them. But let's take a look if there's any other components that we are missing here. Going back to our top, we have HTTP listener, HTTP, etc., ALB, security group. Oh, we don't have the security group represented. So we'll bring that in. So I believe there is a box for that. Should be. Here it is, security group. So it'll be our ALB security group. And we'll just drag these out a bit here. I have to zoom in here. It's not letting me select these lines, which is kind of frustrating. There we go. And so now what I can do is bring in this screen group here. We just drag this up. Sometimes you really have to work with design here to make it work. Just drag this back a bit here. Okay, not the nicest looking, but getting there. Okay. And so for the security group, we do have some rules here for them. What are they? We'll go take a look. So our ALB is, well, this is internet facing, so we know that for our ALB. And we'll represent that with a diagram or something. So 000443000, those, that's all we really have here. Okay, so we'll go here, and I'll just bring in a new text file here, and we'll just say HTTPS. So TCP 0.0.0.0 0. Say incoming. We don't really need to specify the outbound, or at least I don't care to, because it's pretty clear what it's doing. It just goes to everywhere. I mean, we can put that in there if we want, if we just want to be explicit. Also just say ingress here, outgress, and here this could be TCP all 0.0.0/0. I believe that's what it is. Okay, and so that will represent what that is doing there. And again, we're just being as detailed as we can so that we have more information about what's going on. So yeah, there's that. The security group, let me see here. Now this does exist in the same VPC, so technically that's something else that we would need to change. So I'm gonna go here, drag that over, and we'll bring this over here. I don't know, like I don't think these sit in a VPC, so what we'll do is just bring this up here, like that. Okay. The more we lay out, the better chance we'll be able to figure out how to compress this more. Let's shrink these. These don't need to be so big, because they don't contain anything right now. So I'm just gonna go here and drag these smaller, and then we'll fix the lines afterwards. Come on, let me select it today, please. It's very finicky, eh? Like, look, I'm just like selecting 100 times here. So we'll go here. And really, I just want to bring it down as small as it can go, which is basically that. Same story here. Let's make these nice and small. And these are obviously not centered. We'll just center that. This has padding on it. That's why it's getting some trouble here. Thought it was this we clicked to get rid of the padding on this stuff. Yeah, where the heck did the padding go? Be back in a second, okay? Oh, you know what it is? It's probably the T right here. There we go. So 0, 0, 0, 0. It's all zero around or all around town. So what I'll do is just cut that text out here, and then we'll just drag that out again and paste it in here. And we will bring it over here to the left, up top left corner. And we'll drag that nice and small. Okay. Oops. Get that nice and small here. I'm going to turn back on my object snapping there just so that I can snap relative to it. Well, snap to grid would be nice, actually. But our subdivisions aren't small enough, so I'm not sure about that. That might be kind of annoying. I'm just going to drag it based on what I think it's supposed to be. Let's turn off that grid. I don't want to see the grid. Don't show me the grid. Okay. But yeah, this is like half the job when you do something, right? You have to make sure that it is very easy to read. And that you do the full job and not just part of the job. Okay, so this is getting a little bit better here. Okay, this one here. Bring that up like that. And then I'll drag this one up here like that. Look at those lines, they're crazy. Barely can tell what's going on here. And I'm going to take this text out, so again, just so I have more flexibility to move it around, because that seems to be what we've been doing so far. And then I'll just bring that in there like that. Top left corner. Resize this. And so now we can just place this wherever we want. So I'll put it here for now. Maybe we'll end up having that center. And we don't even have anything in this cluster yet, so I'm just going to make this a bit smaller for now. And we could even bring these on the outside because right now we have a lot of room. So we might as well just make use of that room. We could even go as far as doing this, which might look a bit nicer. And you really got to work it and figure it out. Could have put it on the other side as well. We'll see here in a second. Because we could just expand that side and then put those here. Okay. And so now we have more room with this, so we can bring this up like this. And then do that. Okay, we can bring this one up here. Whoops. Bring this one up here. What a mess. But it will look good once we work through it. So bring that up like that. Okay, and so now what we can do is take this here and bring it up as such to like indicate that we're going across all those. I kind of missed this part here. I don't know if we need more room for this one, but yeah, we'll leave it for now because I don't want to find out we need more space and then move those things. So yeah, let's figure out this mess here. So first thing would probably be to deal with this line because this is the line that affects everything. So we'll go ahead and bring this one up like that. Nice and close. I'll bring this one down a little bit so we have a little bit of room here so our lines aren't getting a little too messy here. We'll do this. Okay, and we will zoom in. And you can come up here for now. This one is supposed to be here. In fact, we could probably even take this and put it right here like this. Same thing with this one. This can be, oops, like that. Things just get creative as you work through them, eh? You know, another option we had is we could have put it like on this side as well and then ran it up through the center here, but whatever. I don't know why that's tilted like that. I kind of want it to be nice and straight. If it's not going to be straight, I'm just going to take that off like that. I don't have to worry about that trying to align correctly because it's just goofing around. It's giving me a headache. Okay. So we'll see we're reclaiming a lot of our space, so we can go drag this back up. Okay. Let's see if there's any other details we want to pull forward here. This is our cluster. Like we have health check information. I mean, that's useful to know. Front end here, 3015 / things like that. API health check. Yeah, let's bring those in. So this is where I said it might make more sense to put it on the other side, but then we have all these lines running through it. So yeah. I mean, we might have room for them. I know we already formatted them that way, but I'm going to go here. And I'm just going to bring it up like this. Put them on the bottom like this here. Even bring this down a couple. It's not like it's like super important information, so Okay, let's zoom out. And so, yeah, it's looking better. We'll just take that last one there, bring it down 2 sizes. And bold that, bring that up. Go back over here. I know it's so much finickiness, but I like to try to figure out the best way to make that readable. Okay, so yeah, I think that is a good indicator. Some people like to bring these over a little bit, or they like to have them on the inside. It's up to you how you want to visualize that. I think I'm going to bring it out a little bit here. To let me select it like that, so we know that it's spanning all across those there. Okay. Anyway, our health checks are in there. So that's good. Any other information? I mean, this information is useful. I just don't think I want to set it in there. Container Insights is turned on. That's fine. Execute commands there. That's great. It does create a service connect default, so it does end up creating a namespace. I wonder if there is a namespace for this. So if we go over to containers. Or we could just search namespace. Yeah, and so they have one right here, namespace. So that's something that I'd like to do, is see if I can find that. There it is. I'm not exactly sure how this should get connected, but I'm just going to put it over here because it is created here. Okay, does exist. And so I think that is good enough for our architecture for now. We didn't do any exports on our cluster. I'm trying to think like what we would need to export out here. I suppose our next thing is to work through the service, and the service is going to need particular things. We can always go back and update this cluster, and I think that's what we'll want to do. So I think I'm happy with this architectural diagramming for now, and we'll stop it here, and we'll move on to the next layer, which is the service. Now, the service is interesting because, you know, in the past, I would make these as CloudFormation templates, but does it make sense because when you launch it, it creates a CloudFormation template for it. And the reason why that matters is that when you get into the CI/CD pipeline, because if you already have a CloudFormation template, it's going to, on launch, it's going to go ahead and tear down that old one and update it. But I guess the thing is that if it's going to perform a CloudFormation operation anyway to do an update on it, then maybe it does. Maybe we can make it as a CloudFormation template, because at the end of the day, if all it's doing is creating a CloudFormation template, why can't we make a CloudFormation template? I'm not sure if that makes sense, but we will talk about it in the next video. Okay, ciao.